Hello there. All right, so we're going to be reading chapter 14, which is the story of Rhode Island, one of the 13 colonies. An English boy. Roger Williams was born in London, England. When he was about 9 years old, a minister in his neighborhood was burned at the stake. The minister had disagreed with the King's Church, the Church of England. That terrible event shocked Roger Williams. He believed that the king and his church were wrong. He thought God did not want people to be punished or killed because they wanted to worship differently from the king. So we have, just as a reminder, right, we have the Church of England, right, which is at its as its leader is the king. We have the Roman Catholic Church, and then we have other groups that are kind of breaking off. So we have the Church of England, that is, they're known as the Protestants. And then we had the Pilgrims who branched off, who were known as separatists because they completely wanted to separate from the Church of England. And then you have the Puritans who are part of the Church of England, but don't agree with the direction it's kind of going. They feel like there's too much focus on kind of material things like stained glass windows and decorations, and they really want it to stay pure and simple and just focused on the religion. For a while, Roger Williams went to school. Unfortunately, his family could not afford to keep him in school, but while he was at school, he learned to read and write. On his own, he learned to write in a special way called shorthand, which is actually still used today. Roger Williams liked to listen to his minister preach. Using shorthand, he could write down every word the minister said. Afterward, Roger would bring in his shorthand notes home and use them to study the Bible. So, shorthand is almost kind of like a code, it's a way of capturing speaking in a quick way. If you don't know how to write it and read it, it wouldn't make any sense to you really looking at it. When Roger was a young man, a kind lawyer gave him a job writing down his courtroom speeches in shorthand. The lawyer also found a good school for Roger and paid him to attend. So, just a little side note, if you've ever seen like a court proceeding and you've seen somebody sitting there typing, they're typing in shorthand. So they actually have special kind of typewriters that capture this shorthand language. And so that's how they can capture every word that's said when people are presenting their cases to a judge. Roger studied hard. Soon he went to one of England's famous universities, Cambridge University. Later, he became a minister. Roger Williams was a Puritan. He knew that the king did not like Puritans because they did not agree with the Church of England. Roger Williams worked as a minister in the household of a Puritan who was a member of Parliament. Remember, that's kind of part of the government system in England. There he met rich Puritans who wanted to leave England and live in America. So we can see people are choosing, right, to leave their homelands to practice the religion they want to for new opportunities. And so he kind of recognized that this might be a good way for him to go so that he could practice his religion as he wanted and kind of start this new life. Roger Williams decided to join the Puritans in Massachusetts. He wanted to be free of the king and the church leaders in England. He said that the king did not own the land. The king had no right to take land from the Native Americans. Williams said the Native Americans should be paid for any land they gave to the colonists. The Puritans had come to Massachusetts in order to worship as they thought right. But they were not separatists like the Pilgrims in Plymouth, who wanted to break away from the Church of England altogether. The Puritans wanted to stay in the Church of England and change it. In 1631, Roger Williams sailed to Boston. Governor John Winthrop offered him a job as a minister to Boston's Puritan congregation. Roger Williams thought that the Puritans should just leave the Church of England. So he told Governor Winthrop that he could not take the job as long as the Boston Puritan congregation belonged to the Church of England. Even though he liked Roger Williams as a friend, Governor Winthrop was not happy with this idea. Right? He wants to change the church, not completely break away. Roger Williams found other work as a minister, first in Plymouth and then in Salem. He spoke out against making everyone pay taxes for a Puritan congregation. The Puritan leaders became angry with Roger Williams. Roger Williams became friends with a group of Native Americans. He learned their language, he earned their respect, he spoke out against taking their land. So he has a strong belief of justice, yes, and fairness. The Puritans decided to send Roger Williams back to England. He's kind of, even though he has this strong belief of justice and fairness, he is not really going the direction that the Puritans want to go in. So they are kind of viewing him almost like a troublemaker. It was almost winter and he was sick. So Governor Winthrop said that Williams could stay for the rest of winter but must leave in the spring. But Williams escaped from Massachusetts and went to what is now Rhode Island. There, he spent the winter with his Indian friends. He acted as a peacemaker among the groups in the region. In the spring, some of his Puritan friends came to help him. He built a house and planted crops. Williams bought the land on which he founded a new colony from a Native American group. So he's holding true to his beliefs and word. With his Puritan friends, Roger Williams started a new town. He called the town Providence. It was the first town in the new colony called Rhode Island. Williams gave all his land to the town. Soon more settlers came. The town of Providence was ruled by all its settlers, not by members of a religious congregation. People were not punished for their beliefs. No taxes were paid to any religious group. Jews, Quakers, Baptists, and people of other religions soon settled in Providence. All of these religious groups had to support themselves. So he really believed in what is called a separation of church and state, which is part of our government today, meaning that religious groups should fund themselves outside of any government so that there wasn't any kind of like strong influence to one another, that religion should be separate from government itself. So having no taxes and having people, have their own decision making processes was a way to kind of keep those two different institutions balanced. Little by little, more towns were settled near Providence. One of the most famous Puritans from Massachusetts who moved to Rhode Island was a very brave woman named Anne Hutchinson. Anne Hutchinson always spoke her mind. She read the Bible very carefully and she believed that she was inspired by God directly. She said that she didn't need to have the Puritan ministers telling her what to believe. And they certainly didn't like being argued with about religion by a woman, right? So remember, there's still some pretty strong lines of inequality here going on between men and women. So she's pretty outspoken during this time because she's like, hey, I read the Bible. I know what I believe. I know what the Bible is telling me. In fact, I feel like God is speaking to me directly. I don't need you guys to tell me how I should be interpreting what I'm reading and believing. Like Roger Williams, she soon got into trouble with Governor Winthrop and the other Puritan leaders. When the Puritan leaders ordered her and her family out of Massachusetts, her friends came to help her start the new town of Portsmouth, Rhode Island. As more towns started in Rhode Island, the people wanted to have their own colony. Roger Williams traveled to England to ask for a charter for the colony. His friends in Parliament back in England helped him get the charter. People in Rhode Island had more religious freedom than in any other colony. Most of them liked Roger Williams, and later he became president of the colony. Williams worked his whole life to make Rhode Island a good place to live. He worked to keep peace with the Indians. He treated everyone with kindness and respect. The idea of Roger Williams about separating religion from government can still be found in our laws today. All right. Pretty amazing man, and pretty exciting to see this colony get set up where people really can come and practice their own beliefs. All right. That's it for today. See you next time.